everyone, welcome to New Fast Food. We've got a lot to talk about today, including artificial intelligence answering the phone at Domino's, a new kind of pizza from Pizza Hut, and all those crazy items you see at McDonald's in other countries, they're bringing them to the US. I've got the details. Let's get started. So first of all, Domino's, they like to think of themselves as not as a pizza company, but as a technology company that just happens to also sell pizzas. They sink a lot of money into their research and development into new technologies. So because of that, they've got one of the best online ordering systems in the industry. They've got one of the best mobile apps. They have all kinds of different ways for you to place an order, whether it's through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or text message or on your TV. There's just they spend so much money and so much effort and time researching technology initiatives at Domino's that they are just so far above not only just other pizza places, but pretty much any other restaurant in general. But no matter how many different ways Domino's offers to order your pizzas, there's always going to be people that are going to call in and place their order over the phone. So Domino's is looking to upgrade that experience as well, as they've introduced artificial intelligence to be answering the phones at 20 locations as part of a test run. So this is really an extension of one of their other ways they offer to order pizzas, and that's through Dom. Dom is their mobile assistant. He's sort of the Domino's answer to Siri or Google Assistant. His name is Dom. He's an artificial intelligence or mobile assistant type thing where you speak to him just like you would to Siri, but Dom's main function is placing a pizza order. So they've basically taken that same technology that they use in the Dom mobile assistant and they've applied it to their store landlines. So at these 20 locations, when you call in to place an order, you're greeted by Dom, or I'm not sure if they're calling him Dom in the store version, but you get an artificial intelligence voice answering the phone. You speak to it just as you would a normal person, and it takes down your order. So the point of this is, well, there's a couple of things. One, they say that it improves the accuracy of the orders. So obviously, when you're talking to someone over the phone, some things get lost in translation. You're maybe trying to order pizza with half of something on one side and half of something on the other, and it just gets mixed up somehow. So they're saying that the mobile assistant, or rather the artificial intelligence store assistant, is more accurate at taking complex orders. The second thing is that basically it frees up the Domino's staff members there in the store to either concentrate on other tasks or maybe even allow the store to shrink their workforce and employ less people because they don't have to have someone manning the phones. So this is actually, I think that's probably the bigger goal of introducing artificial intelligence to answering the phones, and I think that at least from this article, it sounds like it's not going to stop there. So in the article that talks about this, it also mentions that Domino's says that they're working on more automation to implement down the road. And so when you think about that, more automation, well, what could that mean? If the phones are going to be automated, what other things could also be automated? So maybe the in-store order takers, maybe they wouldn't have somebody at the counter taking your order if you're walking in to place an order. Maybe they have a kiosk take care of that, or maybe they're also extending the automation to the kitchen. So there's already vending machines that can automatically make a personal sized pizza as fresh to order as soon as someone orders it through the vending machine. What's stopping that from happening on a larger scale, say in the Domino's, where they just have big massive machines making the pizzas? I could see that being a very real thing, maybe in 15 to 20 years from now. So if they automate all of the order taking and they automate all of the pizza making, and they've also been testing automated deliveries, I mean, you could have a Domino's location maybe only having one person working there, or maybe having, you know, just the owner, and he's able to do perform all the functions of the restaurant, which could just be, I don't know, picking up the dough that the robots dropped on the floor, or counting the money. Basically, if everything's automated, there would be a very slim staff required to run a Domino's restaurant. And I think that although that may not be their main goal, that could be just sort of a side outcome that takes place when they take all these different technologies, put them together, and then all of a sudden they realize, hey, we don't need people to be at this store. The whole thing's running itself. Domino's keeps coming out with more and more innovations all the time. I can't wait to see what they've come out with next. Now, before we go any further, I do want to give you a little bit of an update on something that I talked about last week in one of my videos. This is regarding the Carl's Jr. and Hardee's brand split. And the article that I had read, which featured the chief marketing officer as well as the CEO of Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, talking about how the brands were going to become more and more different. And basically, with some announcements that were made this week, it now seems like that article was a little bit misleading. So in the article, the chief marketing officer says that Hardee's and Carl's Jr. are going to have completely different menus. And then the CEO came into the article and he said that the Hardee's was going to have the Memphis barbecue burger in the spring. Carl's Jr. was going to have the Jolly Rancher milkshake in the spring, and Carl's Jr. was also going to have the pastrami burger in the summer. And then he said both chains offer sliders. So those statements would lead anyone to believe that those restaurants are going to have separate items. And that's what I reported. But we learned this week that the Memphis barbecue burger is now available at both Hardee's and Carl's Jr. Same with the Jolly Rancher milkshake, available at both Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. So it seems like, I don't know if the CEO was purposely being a little bit misleading with the language he was using, or what the case was there, because they definitely made it sound like these items weren't going to be shared between the two restaurants. I thought something was a little bit off when I read it, because it didn't make sense that Hardee's would get a promotional burger in the spring, but Carl's Jr. would just get a milkshake. I thought that was a little bit off, but you know, it was the CEO, so I didn't want to question it. But it looks like now, at least for the time being, Carl's Jr. and Hardee's will continue to have the same promotional items. Right now, they both have the Memphis barbecue burger, and they both have the Jolly Rancher milkshake. I'll continue following the story, and so stay tuned. If anything changes, I'll be sure to discuss it further here. Alright, there's been a lot of pizza news lately, and here it continues. Pizza Hut just launched a brand new pizza. They're calling this the Double Cheesy Crust Pizza. Basically, they describe it as a combination of their pan pizza and stuffed crust. So the stuffed crust, of course, you know, it isn't the pan pizza, it's kind of its own monster. And then the pan pizza, you know, Pizza Hut's very well known for their pan pizza. So they're saying it's sort of a combination of the two. And then it also has sort of a toasted parmesan sprinkled around the edges of the crust, and then additional parmesan cheese sprinkled throughout the pizza. So I'm actually really excited about this new pizza from Pizza Hut. This is probably the most excited I've been about a Pizza Hut pizza in a long time. A lot of the Pizza Hut pizzas, they're sort of gimmicky. They have like breadstick crusts or little cheesy ball crusts, and I've tried them. They're pretty much gimmicky. They're not, at least for me, I'm not a huge fan of those kind of crusts. What I am a huge fan of is burnt cheese on the crust, and this looks like it has a lot of burnt cheese all the way around the crust. That's really my favorite part of the pizza, so I'm really excited about that, and I really am glad that Pizza Hut is going this direction, that there's not really a big gimmick here. They're really just relying on sort of some innovation in their pizza, which I like that. You know, it does have the stuffed crust, which is a little bit of a gimmick, but I think at this point, the stuffed crust is sort of an accepted gimmick. People like the stuffed crust pizza, so I am really excited about this. There are a couple of things that I find a little bit questionable. First of all, you know, they're saying that it's a stuffed crust pizza, which, okay, that's great. But you know, they basically only released these two pictures of it, and neither picture really looks like it's a stuffed crust pizza. Take a look here. I mean, there's definitely more cheese sort of closer as you get towards the crust, but it definitely looks like that pepperoni is laying on that cheese in both pictures, which would, you know, make it seem like that it's not a stuffed crust, because, you know, there should be sort of a layer of bread between the cheese and the pepperoni if it's really a stuffed crust pizza. So that's one thing I find a little bit questionable about it. And they don't, you know, in the name, it's not called it doesn't say stuffed at all. So it could be, I mean, if they tout it as the combination between the pan pizza and the stuffed crust, you know, maybe when a stuffed crust is combined with a different kind of pizza, maybe it's not a true stuffed crust. Maybe it's more sort of a tucked crust. That could be. So, and the other questionable thing I find about it, and this is really more of a funny thing. It's not really that I'm questioning the product, but the naming convention, double cheesy crust. This is sort of the second time we've seen in recent memory of something being labeled as having less cheeses than it actually does. I mean, so you have a pizza. Pizza obviously has cheese on it to begin with. Then you have the stuffed crust element of it. That'd be good enough to qualify for double cheesy, which is the name, double cheesy crust. But then it's also got that toasted parmesan ring around the top of the crust. That would signify a triple cheese to me. And then they've also sprinkled additional parmesan cheese throughout the rest of the pizza. So I think they could be justified here in calling this the quadruple cheesy crust pizza. Maybe that name would be a little bit too gimmicky for this pizza, which actually looks, like I said, looks really nice. But it is funny to see that there's 4 cheeses basically on this pizza, but they're only calling it the double cheesy crust pizza. And then, as a lot of people pointed out, the triple melt burrito from Taco Bell really has 4 different kinds of cheeses in it. It could be the quadruple melt burrito as well. So I just thought that was interesting. I still think this looks like a great pizza. It's about 14 bucks, give or take, depending on where you live at, and it's available now. And last up, McDonald's, along with most other fast food restaurants, are known for having some pretty crazy items available in other countries that aren't available here. I mean, you've got things like the McLobster, you've got McNoodles, you've got like a McSpaghetti with fried chicken thing, just all these crazy things that we hear about in other countries. And by the way, I would love to be able to cover these international fast food items as this channel continues to grow. Hopefully that's one of the things that I'll be able to have time for. But getting back to McDonald's, they've opened up a restaurant inside of their new corporate headquarters. It's open to the public, and they're serving fast food items from international McDonald's locations. This is so exciting. They're saying that the menu at their corporate store is going to be rotational, which means they're starting out with certain items on their menu, and they'll continue to change out those items and bring in other things from other countries from time to time. So what they've started out with is nothing really too crazy. You'll show them here on the screen. They've got the Mighty Angus burger from Canada. They've got the McSpicy chicken sandwich from Hong Kong. They've got the cheese and bacon loaded fries from Australia. They've got the Maza salad from France. This one actually I think looks the most unique. If I were going to this corporate store to try any one of these, this is probably what I would try. It just looks, not that I'm a big fan of pasta salads, but it just looks the most unique. This would be the one that I would like to try. They've also got the Manhattan salad from France, and then they've got the McFlurry Prestigio from Brazil. And the people that have tried this say, yeah, it looks pretty nice, but when you taste it, it still tastes like a McFlurry. So this is really exciting. Again, they plan to change out the items from time to time, so I'll try to keep an eye on this and let you know when some of these stranger items become available here in the United States. And by the way, the McDonald's corporate headquarters is in Chicago. So if you live in or around Chicago, you may want to take a trip to this new McDonald's headquarters, where they have a restaurant where you can get food that's not available at any other McDonald's in the United States. But that's enough out of me. Now it's up to you to continue the conversation down below. I want to know, which McDonald's international item would you like to see available at the corporate headquarters in Chicago. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. We talk about fun stuff like this twice a week. I make new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and you can watch more right now.